You've now been exposed to two crucial concepts for this class: directory hierarchies, and again, we'll be using this example throughout our lecture today, so I wanted to refresh your memory about the example directory hierarchy we were working with, and command line interfaces. In this video, we're going to learn some of Linux's text-based commands for exploring different files and our directory hierarchy more generally. To get started, we're going to pick up where we left off with this directory hierarchy example that we had, as well as our terminal window. In this lecture, I'll actually be doing a live working terminal demonstration for you. Now, the first command we're going to learn about today is pwd. Okay, and again, this is all lowercase. The little details really matter in computer science. So if you type a capital P, for example, that will not work. All lowercase pwd, which is short for print working directory. Okay, you might notice that pwd is the first letter of each word. So this is really an acronym, but it's pretty easy to remember that way. So now I'm going to go ahead and give you an actual example here. Here I have my terminal. Again, your terminal may look slightly different, but you're looking for that $sign at the end to know that the computer is ready and waiting for you. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and type in pwd into my window, and you'll see that the computer executed the command. It displayed something in my terminal window that's the results of that command, and then my prompt redisplayed again, letting me know that it's ready for my next command. So here we see our current working directory. Now, working directory is just some jargon that means the directory I'm currently working in. Sometimes it's also called the current directory. So let's take a look and analyze this output that the computer gave us. Here we see a long string of words separated by slashes. Some of it looks familiar and some of it doesn't. Note that the end of this series of words, we see /fol/CS170. If you think back to our hierarchy that we drew and have been using as an example, this output begins to make a little bit more sense. In fact, this output shows us the path to our current location and shows us an entire series of parent and then child directories. The concept of a path is an important one in command line interfaces because you really have to know where you are and how your files are organized. Remember that we're not using a graphical file browser to locate things here. So the pwd command tells us the path to our current location. The pwd command doesn't really tell us anything interesting about our files. It doesn't tell us where they're located. It's not a search technology, nothing like that. Think of this command as sort of a compass for you. It tells you where you are in relation to that file hierarchy, and it helps orient you. We'll learn about the rest of the output, that /home/vsummit, in a future lecture. The next command we're going to learn about here is ls. And ls is short for list. In this case, we took the first and third letter of this word and shortened it up. And this lists the files and directories in the current directory. Okay, so it's going to tell us what is in one directory, specifically the directory we're in right now. So let's go back to our demonstration window here, and now we're going to go ahead and we're going to type in ls. Okay, and as we can see here, it tells us that we have the homework 1 and homework 2 directories in our current directory, which we know was CS170, and then after the computer has executed that command, we see our prompt again and it's waiting for our next command. A couple of things to observe here. Depending on your system, the directories and files may be displayed in different colors. In this case, we see that the directories are being displayed in blue. All right. Now this is just a visual cue that lets you know what's a directory and what is a file. Okay. Otherwise, in a text-based interface, we have no way of telling. We don't have icons for these. So the only visual cue that we can really work with is to change colors. Another thing to note is that I typed in the command, computer executed the command, displayed the result, and I got my prompt again, and now we're ready to go. Okay. The last command we're going to work with here is one that's going to help us navigate the directory hierarchy. So we're going to be able to move directories after this. So in this case, we're going to change directories, and the command is cd, again, short for change directory. So instead of double clicking on a folder icon like you might be used to, we do this via text commands. Okay. The only caveat here is that we have to tell the computer what directory we want to change to, or what directory we want to move to. So now we're going to be moving up and down in this hierarchy. So what we do here is we do this via an argument. All right. So the cd command is going to take an argument, which is going to be a path. Okay, and that's the path of the directory that we want to go to. Okay, so let's go back to our live demonstration here and see how that looks. So in this case, I'm in the CS170 directory. We established that via the pwd command. We looked around and we saw that there are two subdirectories or two subfolders, homework 1 and homework 2. And again, think back to that graphical diagram we do of our file hierarchy. Now we want to move into our homework 2 directory. So now we're going to issue our change directory command, and we have to tell the computer where we want to go. So in this case, we say cd space, and then we tell it where we want to go. So in this case, let's go into our homework 1 directory. So I say cd homework 1. Okay, you don't have to put a slash after it, although sometimes you'll see something like this that says cd homework 1 slash. That just means it's a directory. You can only change directories into directories, so that kind of makes sense. But you don't have to have that slash after it. The command will still work fine. Now, I typed this in, I hit enter. Notice that I got my prompt back, but otherwise there's no indication that anything happened. There was no output from this command. So let's put everything we've learned in this lecture together and investigate a bit. So now let's type pwd to figure out where we are. Okay, so here's my output. Look at that. Our path changed, as we can see here from the first one to the last one, and we've now moved into our homework 1 directory. So cd homework 1 moved us into the child homework 1 directory from the CS170 directory. Let's look around a bit more. So we'll issue the ls command at the prompt. And in this case, we see that there's a file in this directory named demo.java. Note that this file is not highlighted in blue. It's not a directory, so that again is our visual cue here that this is a file and it's not a subdirectory. Okay. So you may be wondering how we move back up in our hierarchy. We've moved down, but how do we move back up the tree? Well, we'll cover that in the future, and we'll learn a lot more about navigating the hierarchy via some shortcuts and some advanced commands. But for right now, let's review here what we've learned in this particular video. Okay, so we talked about the pwd command, we talked about the ls command, we talked about the cd command for changing directories, and we've also introduced the concept, in this case, of a path, which is a location. So this is a string of words that represents a location on our computer. So those are the crucial concepts to remember from this lecture.